All right, good afternoon, families, both new families to NHA and current NHA families. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon on our NHA Discovering Our Difference webinar. We're really excited to have you live with us today. If you haven't done so already, please take just a second to go ahead and scan the QR code that is on your screen. Or if you're on your mobile device, you can also use that web link there. What this will do is ask you to fill out a short questionnaire so you can submit questions. It enters you to win a Nintendo Switch. And at the end of the webinar this afternoon, we will take some of those questions and answer those. In addition, you can also give us a call at the number listed on your screen with any questions, or you can reach out to the local school where you applied. We'd be happy to answer any of those questions that you may have. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our Chief Learning Officer, Dr. Nick Sheltrown, to take us through our webinar today. Afternoon, Nick.
Thanks, Zach. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you today as I get to explain the NHA difference and why NHA is a great option for families across the country. First, a little bit about our organization. We are one of the largest charter operators in the country. We manage 100 schools across 9 states and serve 65,000 students and growing every day. Just because we're large doesn't mean that you'll have an impersonal experience with us. Schools know their families and are quite responsive to the needs of families and students in each and every community that we serve. What it does mean is that we're able to bring a lot of expertise and resources to every school we operate to make sure that you and your students have a quality experience. If I had to summarize the NHA difference, I would start with what we stand for. So another way to say that is like, what makes an NHA school an NHA school? And I think it's 3 things. First of all, it's academic rigor. And what that means is that we challenge each child to achieve to their fullest potential by providing a rigorous curriculum and structured learning environment. Second of all, it's moral focus, which is our in-house proprietary character ed program, where we focus on virtues that we know lead to success in college, career, and life. And lastly, that all happens in a safe and secure environment. We know that all parents want to make sure that their children are safe at school, and we take that responsibility very seriously. So for this presentation, I'm going to try and keep it very brief because it's a webinar, right? We don't want to go on for hours and hours about this, even if I want to do that. I'm going to talk about each of these 3 components and give a little bit more detail, and then Zach will come up here at the end and we'll answer a few questions. So let's take a look. We'll begin with academic rigor. I'm going to spend most of my time talking about academic rigor. There's a lot that we can share about academic rigor, but I want to start with the idea of college readiness. If your student attends an NHA school currently, or you're considering an NHA school, your child's going to get exposed to a rigorous college prep curriculum, and that begins on day 1. And that's true whether you have a student in early elementary or if you have a 17 or 18-year-old in our early college program, and anything in between. We focus our curriculum to prepare students not only to attend college, but to be successful in it. And that doesn't assume that college is the right choice for every student that we serve, but we want to make sure that if they choose to go to college, that they're going to be well prepared for that experience. How do we do that? It starts with teaching. So much of education obviously comes down to what happens in the classroom with our teachers. And I hate to say it, but education is a bit of a fad-driven industry, meaning that schools are often chasing fads, whatever the latest thing that happens at a conference. That's not NHA. We teach a science-based, grounded curriculum and really instructional strategies that is grounded in really the best learning science and our experience over the last 29 years. We also, however, just because we're very serious about the science behind our instruction doesn't mean that it's one size fits all. We tailor things to fit the needs of each and every student. I think if we looked across all 65,000 students that we serve, each one of them has unique needs, special gifts, special interests, and we really try and tailor the experience to meet the needs of each and every student. How do we do that? Well, it's not just this, what I'm doing here, stand and deliver in front of a classroom all day, every day. That's what I got mostly when I was in school, and maybe you did too. Our classrooms, we certainly do have direct instruction, but there's also plenty of small group learning, one-on-one learning, and tutoring that happens to make sure that we're able to fill in gaps or extend student learning as needed. We also, like I think any smart system is going to adjust its approach based on the available data. And we have a lot of data. Students produce a lot of data each and every week at school. And that might be in the form of homework or classroom assessments, more standardized assessments. But we use that data to track how they're progressing against key learning objectives that we have for them in this college readiness prep program. And then based on that data, that's what fuels what we do differently with them, whether it's in the whole group setting or in the small group setting that I described earlier. Importantly, students who attend our schools, they receive a consistent, structured approach. In my experience, students crave structure, and they do best in a well-structured environment. So our learning environments have a lot of structure to them. There's clear procedures and routines for how students should do things and what classrooms should look like. Often students have a hand in making up some of those routines, procedures, or the rules or kind of policies for the class. We call that a social contract. That way they have some stake in it, some voice in it. But what this does is it creates a learning environment that's conducive to learning, where students are not only engaged, but they're active agents in their own education. We find that to be vitally important, not just for success in your K-12 years, but for really life and beyond. Another way that we have a rigorous college readiness program is through our Accelerate. We have a large percentage of students in our network currently who are ready for content beyond grade level. So they've already mastered all the things that you would expect a typical third, fourth, fifth grader to know, and they are ready to kind of move their learning to that next level. And so we call that program Accelerate, because that's what we do. We accelerate their learning. And so this advanced learning program is available to all students, no matter if you have a student in kindergarten or if you have a student in the high school years. We've got options for you. But we use this to help, again, differentiate what we can offer to students when they're ready for something different and more. To summarize maybe all of this talk around academic rigor, if your student attends an NHA school, they're going to be known. We know our kids, each and every one of them, at each of the schools that we serve. We have a large group of caring educators that are going to invest deeply in your child's success. Your child's also going to be challenged, though. Learning is hard work, and hard work in and of itself is something that's good to learn. And we're doing all of this so we can help them be their very best. Again, challenging each child to achieve to their fullest potential. Now you may be wondering, that all sounds fine, but how do I know actually the NHA program is successful? Now I could show you a bunch of metrics and measures from our internal systems that show you that we're doing a great job, but why would you believe me? Instead, I'll turn your attention to the largest study in the history of the country on charter schools. It was done by Stanford University's Credo Center. And what the Credo Center did across, I think, almost 30 states, they collected 6.5 million student test scores and put them through complex models to answer the question, how are charter schools doing? And specifically in their report, they listed out many of the, I think probably 300 largest operators in the country, including us, and said, well, how is that individual operator doing? And what Stanford concluded was that NHA is doing exceptionally well. So out of all the charter operators in the country, we landed at the 82nd percentile, so the top 20% of all of those charter operators. And if you had to quantify how much our students are learning, you could take what students learn in a typical day of math or reading, and they found a way to quantify that. And what they found was that in our schools, students in a normal school year of 180 days, they learn so much, it's like they have an additional 69 days of learning in math. And in reading, it's also very high, not quite that high, but 46 days. So again, this is done by Stanford. It's probably one of the largest studies in the history of public education. It's certainly the largest charter study to date. And what it says is that our approach is working really well for families across the country. I want to move to the second component we talked about. We talked about academic rigor and how important that is in our system. I also want to talk about moral focus. We're not just about learning key content knowledge and key cognitive strategies, the foundation of academic rigor. We're also about building values in the students that we serve. And we call that moral focus. Now, moral focus is just the term for, again, it's our internal character ed program. We call it moral focus because it's our focus. We were founded on moral focus. So what are these things? These virtues are essentially the components that we see that accompany a student success both academically and in life. And so we find that these are the character ed components that help students to see their succeed academically and in college and really become strong citizens of a community. And if you want to know specifically what they are, I have them right here on the screen. These icons and characters, something new that we actually developed that we're rolling out. This is specific here for our K-2 learners, so we have versions for older learners as well. But you can see that the values that we're teaching in our schools are the kinds of values that we think really resonate with parents across the country. Wisdom, respect, courage, encouragement, gratitude. These kinds of things are timeless and universal. And you can see how they also accompany well what it means to be a great citizen, productive worker, a really successful adult in life. So moral focus is really important, and we've designed an entire curriculum to support that. So how do we deliver it? Well, that includes several things. One, we have lesson plans that occur regularly in our classrooms each week on these moral focus topics. They're tailored to the grade level, so they look different depending on what grade your student is in. But each month, as we tackle a moral focus concept, this month is integrity, we'll do that. We'll dive into that in a pretty structured way with the teacher. But we also integrate moral focus in other parts of the school experience. So we have assemblies for students regularly where we get to recognize students who are really exemplifying these moral focus virtues. We also have art competitions across the schools, across the school, and it's integrated in the specials part of the curriculum in terms of reinforcing moral focus. I have in my hand here a moral focus anthology, and so we have a competition across all 100 schools where students can submit their work across K through 12, and then potentially get published in a book that we create each and every year. This is our 2024 book, just came out. So moral focus is really key to what we do. It really rounds out the whole child. We always talk about educating the whole child. It's not just head smarts, it's also heart smarts. The last component to what makes an NHA school is a safe and secure environment. Obviously, parents want to make sure that their children are safe and secure at school once they drop them off. And so probably any school you talk to would say, well, safety is very important. So how are we different? And I would say safety isn't just something we talk about. It's part of NHA's DNA. On screen, I'm not going to go through every component here, but this is NHA's comprehensive framework for school safety. And really what we do is we have a tremendous amount of time, energy, and effort on focusing on not just reactive safety measures, but also proactive. How do we proactively address mental, behavioral, and physical health of the students who are in our custody and in our care during the school day? And so what that means in practice is we do many of the things that you might expect the school to do, safety drills and routines, but we also have school safety specialists at each and every school. We have a tight physical environment. Doors are locked. You have to, if you're going to visit the school and go down the halls, you have to go through a screening process. I noticed that I visit dozens and dozens of schools that we serve each and every year. And every time I visit, even though they know me, I have to go through the same protocols as everyone else because safety is that important to us. We also partner with other national organizations to make sure that we are integrating the absolute very best practices when it comes to school safety in our schools every day. And we've got a team here dedicated at the network level that works with the local schools to make sure that our safety practices are not just something we talk about, but that we do and we own each and every day. So rest assured that your child will be safe and secure if they are enrolled in NHA school. So to review, what did we talk about today? We talked about NHA stands for really three things. It stands for academic rigor, which means we're going to challenge your child to achieve. We're going to do that in a caring environment where it's going to be well-structured, but also very engaging and quite personalized. We also stand for moral focus, which is our character ed. We believe in these virtues. We think they're good for your students and think we're good for society. And so we teach those throughout the K-13 experience. And we're going to do all of that in a safe and secure environment. To me, that's the NHA difference. And that's what makes us different from so many other schools out there, is that your student is not only going to learn all the content that you're going to want them to know, but they're going to develop as people right alongside you step by step. So with that, that's a little bit about the NHA difference. I'm going to bring Zach back up because we're going to see if we've gotten any questions so far. I hope we have. So Zach.
All right, thanks for all that great information, Nick. We did get some great questions. There's a lot of them, so we tried to sort of narrow down the topics. The first one for you is, how do we use technology in our curriculum?
That's a great question. So we do use technology, but rest assured your student is not going to sit on screens all day. So we use it smartly and strategically. What does that look like? Well, as we're doing small group rotations where students are going from different rotations in the classroom, one of those might be working on a computer adaptive software suite where the students are getting lessons right at their ability level. And then as they perform on those lessons, the software adjusts the content instruction in math and English language arts for those students to make sure that we are targeting right where they need to know. So that's one kind of key component that we use technology for. Of course, as students get older, particularly into our high school, where we're fully one-to-one in high schools, for example, they're going to do a lot of projects together, and we extend the classroom well into the home life because they're working on a lot of homework, and technology is a key component to that, just like it is in many kind of work settings and academic settings.
Actually, that's a good segue into our next question. This is probably the most prevalent one that came in, is what role do parents play in our schools?
If you think about the four pillars, it's a great question. If you think about the four pillars that NHA was founded on, one of those is parental partnerships. We're in this together. It is a partnership. We want you in our schools, but we want to partner and walk alongside you to support your students. And so you may have had past experiences with other schools where you didn't feel welcome, where you felt like you were not necessarily encouraged to contact staff or reach out to principals. That is not NHA in any way, shape, or form. We believe in this so much that at our schools, we have a room designated for parents that can come and just spend time at the school and be around. We obviously have robust volunteer opportunities, and we're going to be proactive in our communication. We have a custom communication platform between the school teachers and school leadership and parents, so we can have robust communication. We really believe in the partnership. Why? We believe in it because the data is unambiguous. If the home and school are working together, great things happen for kids, and that's what we're all about.
That's great. Yeah, we love it when our parent rooms are bustling with parents, don't we?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we appreciate all the information you shared with us today. If you all have further questions, feel free to reach out to the number on your screen or reach out to the school where you applied. And if you haven't yet applied, certainly do that. You can do that on the website or by calling. We will be emailing out this webinar along with emailing out the winner of the Nintendo Switch. No, you do not qualify.
I'm not eligible.
You do not qualify. In addition, for incoming kindergartners, we will have a series of webinars this summer for families to attend to really just talk about how to prepare your kindergartner for the fall. And so we'll be really excited to see all of you there as well. So with that, that's everything we have for you. We certainly hope you have a great rest of your day, a great summer, and we will see you next time.